Wide receiver U. That has been the title that Clemson has tried to claim for quite a while now and tried to reclaim for quite a while now. And over the last few seasons, it certainly hasn't felt that that moniker was being lived up to. But with the recent developments, recent recruiting classes, you're seeing kind of the evolution of this wide receiver room and under wide receiver coach Tyler Grisham. And now you're kind of feeling the punctuation of it all with this 2026 recruiting class as Clemson just landed their third big time wide receiver commit in the class of 2026, and none other than Gordon Sellers from Providence Day, Charlotte, North Carolina. What a huge pickup! We've talked about Naeem Burrows and Connor Salmon a good bit. Two massive commits for Clemson. Two speedy guys. Naeem Burrows definitely going to be projects as a slot guy. But now in Gordon Sellers, you get that truly physical, 6'3", 200 pounds type of outside perimeter threat to complement the other two guys. Um, what a huge get for Clemson. He picked Clemson today over South Carolina, over Michigan, over Ohio State. He took a last 11th hour visit to Notre Dame, and that didn't move the needle. See, this was a recruitment that, for a little while, he early on in his recruitment, North Carolina was in the mix, and South Carolina had momentum. Michigan was drawing a lot of interest, but it was that elite retreat weekend that swung everything into Clemson's favor, and now you're seeing the return on that, and him landing, him securing his commitment in the 2026 class. And this is like I said, this is a massive pickup for Clemson. TPC, what do you kind of see from Gordon Sellers as a prospect? What is Clemson getting in him?
Yeah, Jordan. As we start watching these highlights from Gordon Sellers' junior season, really what you're getting with this guy is a big body wide receiver, right? A guy that's long, a guy that's also a deep threat. He can stretch the field. You see his catch radius on that first highlight right there, and that's just a small example of what this guy can really do on the football field. He's, as I mentioned, very long, right? Physical presence when he's on the field, a capable and willing blocker as well. Has long limbs. His catch radius is very good. He can run. He can jump. Very athletic guy, and just a very unique piece for this 2026 recruiting class. And Tyler Grisham now 3 for 3 as far as the receivers that he was really targeting in this 2026 class. And he joins Naeem Burrows and Connor Salmon to be the trifecta, if you will, in this wide receiver room on the 2026 class. You see, Gordon Sellers running down the sideline right there. I mean, this is a guy that, as you continue to watch this tape, one of the things, Jordan, that stands out to me is his contact balance, right? He does not go down very often the first hit. He's always to spin out of it and try to gain extra yards, run after catch. Is really where he make dynamic plays in the open when you get him the ball. So really excited to get this guy as verbal commit. He becomes the 14th commit in this massive 2026 class. This great class has been put together so far. We now jump Ohio State to be second overall in the composite rankings, behind only behind Southern Cal now. So I mean, just another massive get for the Tigers. The momentum continues. It's been a quiet couple weeks on the recruiting trail for the Tigers, but I mean, what a way to kind of massive announcement from Gordon Sellers. Couldn't be more excited about the will of this wide receiver room is trending.
Yeah, absolutely. And to kind of, I gave a little bit of a background of kind of how his recruitment played out. Um, you know, uh, Tyler Grisham, of course, is being the wide receiver coach. You've seen uh, the gradual revival of the wide receiver room, and he's done a phenomenal job recruiting. The likes of Antonio Williams and Bryant Wesco, T.J. Moore, Tyler Brown. And now you landed three more big time commits in this class. I mean, the future is really really bright at the position. Um, in Gordon Sellers' recruitment in particular, this was, um, one of Clemson's more recent staff hires also played a huge role. We've talked a little bit about the hiring of Lonnie Galloway as a support staffer. Obviously, we've talked about his ties to the state of North Carolina, the ties to Providence Day in particular. He has a son that currently plays for Providence Day. Um, so he absolutely played a role
Yeah.
in this recruitment as well. And that's the thing that I've been talking about, with Dabo Sweeney and kind of the hires that he made over this offseason. This is a truly a staff that has a lot of diverse, backgrounds and a lot of diverse, hometowns and areas of expertise. And that is, you're seeing it kind of pay dividends on the recruiting trail. And in Lonnie Galloway's case, this was he was a huge factor in swinging the tide of this recruitment. And I can only, and especially with this school in Providence Day, a school that Clemson has certainly recruited highly in the past, but as of late, haven't been able to secure some of those big time recruits, losing them to guys like schools like Tennessee in particular, who's really started to get a stronghold in the Charlotte area. So this is massive because obviously North Carolina is always going to be a priority for Clemson as far as recruiting. It's right. I mean, they're closer to Charlotte um, than pretty much any other other than like Atlanta and Columbia. That is the closest and the largest metropolitan area that they're close to, and it is you know and really underrated recruiting, hotbed. I mean, the schools kind of know about it, but it doesn't really get talked about nationally the same way that some other cities are. So, like I'm from here, so I know all about it. So this is a massive, massive, development for Clemson, kind of getting their foothold back into the state of North Carolina and especially the Charlotte region. So shout out to Gordon Sellers. His commitment video or live stream was really, really emotional. You could tell how much it was, it meant to him. He said he committed to Dabo officially yesterday, and he was really, really excited. So, that was a really, really special thing. Um, and so, I think they're getting a phenomenal kid. Obviously these are verbal commitments as we talk about them. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to stick. But listen, barring last season, Clemson has done a pretty good job at holding on to the guys that they can get in the boat. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. He seems to be very all in, and even despite the late visits to Ohio State and Notre Dame, they didn't move the needle enough for him to back off on his commitment or move his commitment date. Clemson was where he wanted to be, and he even said, it felt like it was the right place to be every time I went. And obviously, like I said, that elite retreat recruiting weekend really swung the pendulum in Clemson's favor. So again, Gordon Sellers commits to Clemson. Clemson now has the #2 overall class in the country. I don't expect it to stay that way just because of how Clemson recruits, but it you can't deny how big of a deal it is to be on the pace that Clemson currently is, especially given the disappointing returns from last class. This is a massive, massive bounce back. So, there is more to come. Trust me. Clemson has done, like I said, they've done a phenomenal job with this class. There's some more big fish out there that they are trying to get into the boat, and we will be here to talk about it as they come. But until then, if you guys are new to the channel, me and Tiger Paw Craven go live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on the All In Show. We talk about Clemson football, recruiting, and the greater college football world in general. So if you like that kind of content, even if you're not a Clemson fan, feel free to join us. We welcome all fan bases. So y'all head on over. But until next time, I'm Jordan Bowman. He's Tiger Paw Craven. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.